It's not the sunniest of days, but it's dry, it's warm, and the teams are about to do battle in this penultimate 60-minute race. It could be that the championship overall is decided in this race if the number 32 Audi can outscore the Accolis ASP Mercedes by a further 6 points. They'd have moved it out of reach going into tomorrow's race. But, John Watson, anything can happen in this championship, as we saw in the endurance race 2 weeks ago at Hockenheim.
Well, it's a busy little racetrack, 4 kilometres, 2.5 miles approximately, 14 corners, and there's a lot of the racetrack which is open to track for limited use, and there's been a lot of times removed from...
Green light, go, go, go.
Curves are virtually flat, and that's where we get this introduction of track limit abuse coming from. So everybody is aware of it, everybody will push the envelope.
Good evening, everyone. Practice session has just ended, and we saw Meneses, who goes up into P1 there. Can he continue his form? We are back for round 2 for Valencia. This 4-kilometre circuit, 2.9 miles, and let's see then how things kick off here around Valencia in Spain, and we'll see what the drivers could do. So with a lot of times we're looking for is about a 30 something or 31, so you might want to keep an eye on that reference point there. But on board with Rosnos, who had a difficult race, I think, back at the Indianapolis Grand Prix as it was last weekend, and we saw the likes of Jay Garrett, Ewan Small and Christian Chamo, the ones who occupied the top 3. And fortunately, one of them is not here tonight, which is Jay Garrett, as he's suffering internet connection issues. He was going to race on his mobile data, but it was a risky thing to do, and therefore we had to take him out of the session. So that won't be happening for him, unfortunately. So we'll have to watch from the sidelines. And he was trying to build up his championship lead over the rest of the field and have to sit this one out. So a huge load of points lost for Jake Garrett then. Unfortunately for him, as he has to wait for the next race, and we'll see what Jake Garrett can do. He's got a lot of pace, has Garrett, but unfortunately his internet is letting him down, which is very important in an online server. And we're on board with Rosnov in the Ferrari at the Spanish Grand Prix. Then I'm about to say the home Grand Prix, but that's Italy, isn't it? As he's followed by a train of cars right behind. So as we make our way down into turn 1, you can see him use a lot of curb on the outside to try and get a much more speed carried to the corners, trying to take as much track as he can as we make our way now into the McDowan corner at turn 2. McDowan, famously a MotoGP rider who has secured many championships in the past, and his son Jack Doohan is currently a Formula 2 driver and also a reserve driver at LP2. He's supposed to do a practice session in Canada, but unfortunately due to circumstances he wasn't able to take part for Jack Doohan. So yeah, it's a shame that for the Aussie driver, but here we are then on board with Rosnov as I go on the drive to see what he's currently doing. That's the wrong person, sorry. As always, I forgot to select who I want to go on board with, which I need to do first. So back on board with the Ferrari, then make his way through the left-hander. And this can be a tricky track. I've seen a few spins in the practice session as well. And let's make our way now into this right-hander we go. At turn 6, I will get familiar with the corner numbers too, but we're coming up to a part of the racetrack which I really don't like at all. It's this part here where you flicks it in through left, right, and it's very easy to run out wide on the exit too if you carry too much speed or outbrake yourself. Be really, really careful in that corner too. Now, right in the final corner, we'll see what Rosnov can do in that Ferrari. Will he put? Yes, he will put it on pole because he's the first driver to be out there to set a lap time. But here he is then. What's the benchmark the rest of the drivers have got to beat? That's 31.9. That lap time will get beaten because Harry Palmer goes to the top of the timing sheets by 900, so close margins. Echo goes into P3 ahead or behind of Rosnov, and Ewan Small did not set a lap time, did he? I think he just came out of the pit lane in the Beamer. Josh Evanjo goes up to P3 in the McLaren car, and obviously you can see the Buzz Lightyear car too as Kevin goes into P6, not where he's looking for at all. He had problems at the Indianapolis Grand Prix, but his pace was quite strong because he was able to fight his way back to the top 10. And if you notice, well, a lot of drivers are onto provisional poles. So it's the McLaren 1-2, and we've got a lot of McLarens in the mix there with a few Lamborghinis, and another McLaren who goes up to P3, which is Colt Colden, which is a great lap time for him. So Jake Holding there goes into P3, number 44, and he's currently a 10th behind Harry Palmer, so not much separated there. Pell goes into P7. I believe this is MKP, which it is, so I forgot his first name already because Harry Palmer did tell me his first name, but I forgot it already, so apologies MKP. I'll just call you MKP for the time being. Is it Matthew? Yeah, it's Matthew Pell, isn't it? Yeah. And the other one is Dylan Bell down in P17. Matthias Turk, who's a new driver here at ACC, a former F1 league racer. I don't know if he does it still, as Rosnov goes into P2 in the Ferrari there, and he's only 300s away. And 2,000s away is Rosnov in P3, and Meneses is currently in P4. Meneses, I believe he had a bit of a scrappy race in the Indianapolis Grand Prix because he was up there, but due to contact or whatever, I think he spun earlier on, didn't he, in the first few laps of the race, in the first few corners, so it cost him to be down there. Jared Dunley goes up to P5 in the McLaren. Looking good is the Honda of Meneses, and I'm not quite sure if the Honda is quite the favourite around the circuit, unless you know how to drive it, of course, and he's doing well so far. Meneses, who currently led the practice session, did his 30.5, I believe he did, before I flicked off it. So 6 minutes has already gone from his session. That's how much time flies by. And here comes Leo Aries, also making his debut here as the BMW. He's currently the leader of BMW as he returns to garage on the track, which you're allowed to do, of course. And he's the leader of BMW ahead of Kevin and ILT Phil in P9. Josh Evanjo currently in P10 in the Buzz Lightyear car. So we've got Harry Palmer goes to the top of the time machines now with a 31.3, and 300 separates him and Nathan Booth then. My eyes must have deceived me because I didn't quite see it, but yes, Harry now goes to first place. The number 14 car just crossed the line to go to P15. That was Seb Demargel in 15th place. Had a difficult race back in Indianapolis. I don't think he's quite found his form yet on ACC. Meneses goes to the top of the time machines with 31.2, but Harry Palmer is about to cross the line now as he stays in second place there, so probably going for another lap time as he went for a cooldown lap. Eckhart improves to 5th place, and he's been demoted because Rosnoff goes into P5 now. Nathan Booth in P4, but here he is making his way towards the line. What's he going to do in the McLaren? He goes or stays in P4. 2,000 separates him and Rosnoff. Great stuff indeed. And Ewan Small puts a lap time on the board then. Up into 3rd place he goes. He started in 2nd place behind Jake Garrett and ahead of Christian Chamo. And Ewan Small there in the Beamer looking really strong so far, albeit went a bit wide out of that particular corner. Here he is then, Ewan Small, the number 10 driver, of course. He, I think he came 2nd or 3rd in Imola, but obviously that don't matter anymore because it's been cancelled or postponed, it must be said. The number 1, 2, 3 driver of Rosnoff is making his way towards the line. What's he going to do in the Ferrari? Will he improve his position? No, he doesn't. He stays in P5. The McLaren just behind us. I wonder if he'll make any sort of impression towards the top end of the field. Harry Palmer, I think he just crossed the line there, which it is. He's going through turn 1 right now as he's following the 1, 2, 3 car of Rosnoff as they continuously go around the circuit. So you can do multiple runs, of course, on ACC. Just fuel the car up and go for those lap times and try and get the best lap times you can. And Matthias Turk goes up into P6 then, so he gets a really good lap time on the board, does Matthias Turk. And let's see what he could do on his debut. I don't think he took part in the first 2 races of the season, but here he's looking really strong. And the gap between P1 and P6 is only about a 10th between the top 6 there, so very fine margins indeed as Nathan Booth moves himself up into P2 just ahead of Harry Palmer by 3,000. So these lap times are incredibly close indeed. And Kevin there in the Beamer, who still holds that P7. Christian Chamo, I believe, just crossed the line, who stays in P14 there. So not looking good so far for the man who finished in P3 in the last race. That's IRT Phil. There he is in the Beamer. Well, let's see where he can go. And he only P11 for him. He was in the top 10, I believe he was, during the Indianapolis Grand Prix. Elsewhere, we've got the middle sets, I believe it is, number 223, as he makes his way down the short straight, heading towards the fast right and left-hander, which can be quite difficult. You've been very, very careful there, as it's easy to run out wide on the exit and take a lot of gravel, as I've done so myself in the past. Here he is then. Leo Aries make his way out of the final corner using the Valentino Rossi livery in the BMW as he makes his way now towards the finish line. Let's see where he can put himself. He stays in P16 then, so not the lap he's hoping for. The other brother of Jacob Booth is down in P24, so he desperately needs to try and find some time there. Does Jacob Booth? Is he struggling or not? I'm not quite sure. But I believe Menaces just crossed the line to improve his lap time, which he did, and extends his advantage by a further 0.2 of a second ahead of Nathan Booth and Harry Palmer. There's quite a few cars together in that first middle sector there, so some people might be getting each other's way and trying to get space because there's only 5 minutes left in the session then, so crucial time here for everybody. And let's see where Jacob Palmer, there he is in P3. Number 7 car, I believe, just overtaken somebody. We'll go on board with him to see what lap time he can do. Of course, it doesn't let me do it straight away. But there he is. He's currently 0.2 down. Is Harry Palmer. So not the lap time he's currently looking for, as Christian Chamo is right behind. And here goes Jacob Booth. 0.5 up. Where's he going to put him? He stays in P24, unfortunately, for Jacob Booth. This is a really good graphic, but the only problem is that I don't see the full, obviously, the full track map or such, or the full standings on the orders, and also it goes to different people, which I don't want it to be. I want to be in order, but obviously I'm still trying to get used to all these graphics here, as it's only my 3rd race here. Any more changes here as the Beamer goes off? That's McLaren driver of Josh Evandro off the track, as the Beamer makes his way now through towards the left-hander. So 4 minutes left to go in the session, about 2 or 3 laps these drivers will have before the qualifying session commences, and we'll see. Every single driver barring these 2 are out on the circuit, and Eckholt will make his way out there soon. Number 22 is making his way now towards the line, and that is Thomas Neismira. in the Ford. So let's see where the Dutchman can go as he makes his way now towards the finish line. Let's see where the Dutchman can go. It's only P21, just 1 place ahead of Hansen in 22nd place there. So Thomas, unfortunately, it looks like he's struggling here around the track of Valencia. Here comes the number 94, Ostegel. Let's see where he can put his car. P18 only for him, sadly, as C. Domagel in P17. The number 14, and he likes the number 14 of Fernando Alonso, of course, his biggest fan. Here he is making his way towards the line, does not improve his lap time, so he's got about 2 laps left to try and put some daylight between himself and the back end of the grid. Not many people, as I predicted, improving, but we'll see then in the latter stages of qualifying who can find that lap time to try and beat menaces for P1. As all these drivers once again cross the line in a formation there. Ewan Small making his way towards the line in the BMW, but not able to improve on his lap time, of course. Matthias Turk doing well in P7 there in the McLaren, just ahead of Kevin, who just crossed the line. I think Leo Aries now pops himself up inside of that top 10. Here comes Josh Savandro in the Buzz Lightyear car. We did see him back off a few minutes ago, so I'm not quite sure if he's actually on a flying lap here or not, which he is now. But obviously he was on a cool down lap beforehand, and now he's starting his proper lap line. So 2 minutes left to go in this qualifying session. Not much improving I'm seeing from all these drivers, where the tyres are just overheating or whatnot. We've got a few cars in the pit lane, the number 94 and obviously the 686 there. Here comes the number 17 driver of Nathan Booth making his way. He's got a lot of clean air ahead of him, which you'll like. So no distractions whatsoever, because all the cars are really in that first and middle sector. But here comes Nathan Booth as we get one more lap on the board. Will Nathan JB, as he does not improve, stays in at second place then. Where's Harry Palmer? He's currently coming towards now, I think, the right-hander of turn 8. Car off in the background there, as Harry Palmer continues his way now towards the slow left-hander. I think you take that through second gear, maybe first, depending how good your entry speed is to that corner, and also if you outbrake yourself or whatnot. But looks like a decent exit from Harry Palmer so far, as we make our way now towards the corners I despise, especially in MotoGP, because it's so easy to fall off there as you're having a high speed. And now making our way towards the right and left-hander, which can be really difficult as well. So let's see how Harry Palmer negotiates. I think he missed the apex the first part, but I don't think he's on lap time. Is Harry Palmer. I think qualifying is done for Rosnov in a P4 there, so he'll not improve with the Ferrari driver, but the Honda is still on pole. I think he's one of the only Hondas in this session, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, he is then. So the only man who's racing in a Honda, as Ewan Small clatters the curb there. As you can see, the car bouncing around as he took so much curb, but still kept it in control and within the track limits too. So nice car control there from Ewan Small to keep it intact. But 45 seconds left to go in this session, and qualifying will be done. But we'll see Ewan Small, the man who finished in second place in Indianapolis, what can he do as he makes his way now towards, let's have a look, shall we? I'm on board with him right now towards the left-hander. Nathan Booth crosses the line now, and he closed the gap, but it's not enough to take pole. Here comes the pole sitter already. Can he extend his margin over the rest as he crosses the line now? No, he can't. He stays in P1, of course, but not able to improve on his own lap time. And let's have a look to see what Ewan Small's doing, making his way now towards the left-hander before we enter the final corner. And we'll see what the Scotsman has to say about all this. It all makes a mistake, and he's off the track. And qualifying is completed then. So qualifying is done and dusted. Meneses is still on pole, but only just by Nathan Booth, who makes a massive statement here. Oh, look at that, Matthias goes into P3, so great lap time there for Matthias in P3, and Harry Palmer completes the second row in a P4 then, so great stuff indeed. He's not looking good, sorry about that, a bit of my nose was blocked there. It's not looking good so far from the guys from the podium last weekend, like Ewan Small in P6, but still can do something about it, being close up towards the front end of the field. But the likes of Christian Chamo, must be said, a disappointing qualifying session for him, being down there in P16. And C. Domagel in P17, still looking to try and find his feet at the ACC cars in the McLaren. Yeah, 210 separate first and seventh. Hopefully it'll be a good race. We'll see what happens down into the tight left-hander of turn 1 before we reach the braking zone of turn 2. Should be very interesting indeed, but we'll have a look then in a few minutes time. Qualifying has commenced, and I'll take a short break from here and we'll see what happens in the race in a few minutes time.
Chasing hard in Pro-Am. They are 20.5 points behind Miguel Ramos and Dean McDonald. And another AF Corsa Ferrari team. And successful titles have been accumulated easily over the years by Louis Machiels and Andrea Bertolini. This could be another.
There's a possibility, but you know, we always fight till the end. And yeah, it will be a special weekend one more time. And like you know, we can fight for all the championship. We still on the button, so it will be really tough, like all the competition and every racing weekend.
Ferrari is quite strong, but as you have seen in the past season, the McLaren is very strong. Maybe too strong, but no. We are very competitive, so well, we will fight till the end. We are both the Italian one, I'm the Belgian one. We are proud of the country, proud of the car, and we will go till the end.
And this is the crew that they are chasing. It is the Garage 59 Ralph McLaren, the drivers of which are Miguel Ramos and Dean McDonald. And they have enjoyed a really impressive season. Miguel Ramos, hugely experienced, and Dean McDonald has been another standout this season.
We are leading. Let's hope that this weekend goes well. But still, it can happen anything. So it's depending on how it goes the start of the race. If there is any confusion, but we are here to win. So let's hope for the best.
I think the race will be difficult for passing, so I think qualifying's key. I think we go into the same here with the same approach as we have done the previous rounds, and yeah, whatever happens, give it our all.
Now let's just remind ourselves of how Sprint Cup within Fanatec GT works. 2 one-hour races, 2 drivers per car. That means that there is a mandatory pit stop between 25 and 35 minutes of the race. You have to change all 4 wheels and tyres, and if you're in the overall category, there is no little pit stop time. There is in Pro-Am 61 seconds. Once those driver changes are completed, the car blasts back onto the circuit. The classes, well, there is the overall situation, which is for the pros. Then you've got the Silver Cup, and there is Pro-Am to score points within those classes. It means that everybody has something to fight for, and even if you're an amp, you've still got the chance of going home having been on the top step of the podium. This weekend, 26 cars from 6 manufacturers, Audi, Ferrari, Lamborghini, McLaren, Mercedes and Porsche are all on the grid. Fanatec GT World Challenge Europe, powered by AWS, is part of the global competition that is led by Mercedes, AMG, Audi Sport and then Ferrari. The grid is forming then as the cars make their way from the long pit lane around onto the circuits. It's not the sunniest of days, but it's dry, it's warm, and the teams are about to do battle in this penultimate 60-minute race. It could be that the championship overall is decided in this race if the number 32 Audi can outscore the Akonis ASP Mercedes by a further 6 points. They'd have moved it out of reach going into tomorrow's race. But, John Watson, anything can happen in this championship, as we saw in the endurance race 2 weeks ago at Hockenheim.
Well, it's a busy little racetrack. It's 4 kilometres, 2.5 miles approximately, 14 corners, and there is a lot of the racetrack which is open to track limit abuse, and there's been a lot of drivers have been penalised, at times removed from qualifying this morning as a consequence of this track limit abuse. So that's something that can have potential add-on penalties at the end of the race. Let's look at the racetrack quickly as they go around. Well, sector 1's gone, sector 2 are almost complete, 14 turns. The key to this racetrack is fundamentally it's a circuit for motorcycles. So all the entry curves and all the exit curves are virtually flat, and that's where we get this introduction of track limit abuse coming from. So everybody is aware of it, everybody will push the envelope. If you push it too far, you'll get a time removed.
And when you get to the race, it could be Valentino Rossi knows his way around here on two wheels. He tested GT cars here at the back end of last season, and lots of his fans, as you would expect, are here to cheer him on, and he will start the race today. He will do the second stint tomorrow. That is his qualifying time. He is the start driver. The grid has been shuffled a bit with grid drops
30 seconds.
from behavioural warning point, grid drops from offences this morning, and his car in the end will start 12th on the grid, sharing with Prevovic, the man with his back to us right now.
20 seconds.
Black shirt.
Well, when Valentino tested here initially for WRTRD, he was doing lap times approximately 1 minute 34 point whatever.
10 seconds.
To show how much he's improved in the space of the year, although we're not necessarily always seeing it when we see him behind the wheel, but he did a lap of 1:38.0 or something or other this morning. So he's basically found in the space of a year the best part of 3 seconds, which is a significant amount of time for a driver coming into a sport which diametrically opposite to that one that he's been accustomed to make that level of improvement. It's still a work in progress. Delegated his own responsibilities to seeking out information.
The warm-up lap is underway. Matthias Turk is... I don't know how that's happened to Matthias Turk. There he is in P31. I really hope he's not in that position, because otherwise that's a massive blow for him, as he started in a relatively P3, so I'm not quite sure if anything can be done about it. But this race will be an hour long. One pit stop is required, of course, and we'll see what happens down into turn one and go side by side, double file on the start finish straight. No standard start, of course, it's a rolling start here, as always it is. We'll see if Nathan Booth could try and get Menaces down into turn one or turn two. That'll be his big chance. And if Menaces can keep Nathan Booth behind, because it's really difficult to overtake around here, we'll see if he can try and pull away and stay ahead. One small mistake, all it takes for Nathan Booth to just slip through. Harry Palmer looking really good so far. That's the best we've seen from Harry Palmer this season. So can he keep it up in the McLaren? But we're about to get underway very shortly there, and we'll see what happens going down into turn one. Ewan Small has a big chance of taking championship points away from Jake Garrett, because Jake Garrett has a massive lead in the championship, but it might be wiped out due to him not having his internet connection in stable. Yeah, so Matthias Turk did have internet problems. He disconnected from the server, unfortunately, and he has to start at the back of the grid. So that's a massive blow for Matthias Turk, and all his hard work in qualifying will sadly be nothing for him. But as we go onto the start for the straight, they have to be in double file before we can get racing. Should be an interesting start, of course. Try not to mess up the graphics there, because it is quite difficult. I'll stay on board with this camera view right now, but there's Valentino Rossi's face on the left hand side of the building, and the green light is underway. We are underway here in Valencia, and looks like Menaces has kept Nathan Booth behind, but looks like he's under massive pressure. And on the right hand side here is Harry Palmer, gonna go up the inside of Nathan Booth. Has he got the move stick? There's a bit of contact there for good measure between whoever that was, but Menaces stays in the lead of this race so far, and Harry Palmer, as I return to garage quickly to see what's happened. I really don't like that. So here he is then. Menaces leads the Grand Prix, but Nathan has been overtaken by Harry Palmer, and Harry Palmer's put his car into P2. Is Nathan going to fight back? He's clattering the curb there. Ewan Small has gained one place due to the expense of Rosnov, who's lost a place towards Ewan Small, as the timing screens are updating in the wrong way. Oh yeah, it looks like we're having some internet connections right now, because the timing screens are going... it's a bit chaos here, isn't it, for the timing screen? So hopefully update. But this is the race leader for Menaces in P1 there, with Harry Palmer in a second place, followed by Nathan JB and Ewan Small. So there it is then. The timing screen has updated, and Menaces have already pulled a 1.5 second gap ahead of Harry Palmer. But Harry Palmer's under big pressure now from Nathan Booth right behind, as we flick our way into this quick right left-hander we go. And there was a bit of contact further down the field, but Ewan Small, what's happened to him? Has he spun? Let's have a look to see what happened. Can't find him. There he is, down in P24. And looks like he's gone for a spin somewhere, and he's rejoined at the back of the field. That's a massive shame for Ewan Small there. I mentioned him in the championship, and there's a big contact too between these guys. Not quite sure who that was. Looks like Ewan just got forced off the track there, so a bit of a messy start for those guys towards the back end of the field. But Meneses sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix, followed by Nathan Booth ahead of Harry Palmer. Eckholt in P4, followed by LT Phil, and Rosnoff in P6 ahead of Verstappen, as a few cars extend the track limits, which you can do, of course, around here in ACC. Otherwise, in F1, you get validated lap times on left, right, and centre. So, further down the field, number 666 of Hansen has pitted. Well, that's Leo Aries, sorry. Josh Savadjo in 15th place, as I try and scroll through the field there. I don't like the spectator menu at all. It is absolutely horrible to work with. I need a proper spectator menu, proper cameras as well, to see everything that's going on around the field. So the gap stabilises to 1.4, with Nathan Booth just following at the rear. Let's see what the gap is now, 1.3. So it looks like Harry Palmer is taking a little bit of time out of Meneses' advantage there. Can he close the gap between himself and Meneses? Meneses looking really strong in practice and qualifying, but here in the race, he's got it all to do. And one small slip up could see Harry Palmer all over the back of him. However, Sidney Magel has gained a lot of places, but Claude is about to go down the inside on the final corner at turn 14. I was not able to do it on that occasion, has to stay behind, and there's a massive gaggle of cars in that train too, looking to take advantage, and that is Stegel in P11. They're looking for a move on the inside of Wistrup, which he has done, I believe, but there's a car off in the foreground. Who is that? I'm not quite sure who that was. I think it's a lap car, so it must have been further down the field. If a quick look, it was Leo Aries down in last place, so he's already been a lap down, has Leo Aries. So Nathan Booth has claimed some time on Harry Palmer. I think he set the fast lap of the Grand Prix as Nathan Booth, so started to put a pressure on Harry there in the same class, of course, in the McLaren. Thomas Nymira in P17 in the Ford. I think the only driver to use the Ford so far in this race. Let's see how it works for him. But quite a close battle, as always, in the midfield. The map's too small for me. I can barely see anything on the right hand side despite wearing my glasses. But we're starting to see gaps form up again in the midfield there. I think ILT Phil, that's the lap times updated, but it looks like Meneses has gained a bit of time on Harry Palmer. The gap is now 1.6, so Harry Palmer might have to watch out for Nathan Booth right behind him in the other McLaren, of course, as Meneses continues to stretch his advantage as, oh dear, I think we've been disconnected. So I'm going to look at the Discord server to see if it's just me or anybody else, because if it's just me, I'll have to rejoin as quickly as I can. Just bear with me for a few seconds whilst I connect again. So it looks like it was just me who disconnected then, not anybody else. So apologies about that in advance. But yeah, we're back. And I think we're on board with Thomas Nijmeijer. Let's go on back on board with first place, shall we? As it is a bit glitched out. I'll have to go back on board with drive to try and change the camera angle. So the timing screens once again have been mixed up, unfortunately. Harry Palmer though is on his personal best lap so far. So it looks like he's trying to close the gap down between himself and Meneses in P1. Further behind is Nathan Booth in P3. So 31.7 was the lap time, and he took a few hundreds out of Menace's advantage, but Nathan Booth gained a 10th on both of them. So Nathan Booth looking really strong. But the question is, can he overtake Harry Palmer on the circuit, which is a difficult ask, it must be said. Just scrolling backwards to see what's going on through the whole field. Cedar Magel is on his own down there in P9. And Verstappen in P7 in the Lamborghini, who finished in 4th place back last time at the Indianapolis Grand Prix. Number 64 has gone for a spin somewhere on the circuit. So let's have a look to see who that was. That's Dylan Bell, unfortunately, or Daniel Bell, sorry, who was going for a spin, and he's returned to garage there, so his race is over. But look at this then, the battle for P5 between ILT Phil and Rosnov, the BMW versus the Ferrari. I believe Rosnov got jumped by Ewan Small and ILT Phil, but we know Ewan Small's added to P17 there, so gained a place due to the expense of him. But now he's starting to put big pressure on the BMW in front of him. He actually goes out wide, does Phil, and Rosnov might take advantage of that, as that's a horrible camera angle. Could barely see anything. But Rosnov now is ahead of Phil as he outbroke himself in turn 11, coming through turn 12 now. And he must be so frustrated with that, with ILT Phil down there in P6. Emain McCartney in P17. He raced in Imola, but he didn't race back last time at the Indianapolis Grand Prix. He's a big battle between himself and the rest of the guys around him. And Ewan Small's trying to make up the deficit he lost, but it's going to be quite difficult to do so, trying to regain the lost time. And Nathan Booth is getting closer and closer towards Harry Palmer. And let's see, where can he pounce? Where's the best place to operate? Although I did leg out the survey, it's not updated for me, unfortunately. But Harry Palmer's got to watch out for Nathan Booth right behind him. And we'll see if once Nathan gets released from Harry Palmer, will he be able to catch the back of Menaces, or will he be stuck behind Harry Palmer? Because it is quite difficult to overtake him out here in Valencia. Where's the best place to do it? Turn 2? I'm not quite sure, but we'll see where Nathan can pounce, and when he does pounce, can he overtake Harry Palmer? Will he get stuck behind him for a long time during this race? So 10 minutes has flown by already, and he's getting so close to make our way now into turn 12 is Nathan Booth. But where can he overtake Harry Palmer? No battery, of course, in his cars to try and use the battery or anything. It's all down to engine, of course, and the fuel map. The fuel map will help you overtake, of course, but same goes with the man in second place ahead of you. Will also have the same advantage in terms of that. Obviously no DRS on these cars, but there's a car out of the pit lane, and luckily avoids Nathan Booth and Harry Palmer. Otherwise their races would have been wiped out. But Matthias Turk in P13. So he went from P31 to P13. What a comeback drive there from Matthias Turk. Can he gain any more places? Looks like he's got some menacing pace there in that McLaren. He's chasing Christian Chamo, who started in P16. He's also looking to make amends after a difficult qualifying session. Sorry, I'm a bit tired. It's been a long day. I had a massive game of football earlier on, so I'm absolutely exhausted. I can't wait to go to bed either after this race. Not much action as you expect around here in Valencia. There's a few cars quite close. Oh, there's contact. And who was that making contact there with Phil? He just completely barged him out of the way. And whoever that was, unfortunately, I must say, that was not on. If you're a lap car doing that, was that Hodgman? If it was him, that was disgraceful in my opinion. You should be doing that, especially with a front-running car. He's just ruined ILT Phil's race. And now he's dropped it to P7. Jay Dunn has gone through, and Rosnov is now clear of any threats behind him. But yeah, that was absolutely disgraceful from the lap car there. I'm not quite sure what he's doing, fighting like that. There is a few car. There is a lap car in between us, and he's letting them go, thankfully. But whoever that was it Hodgman? It was a yellow car. It probably was him, but I'm not quite sure why you're doing that whilst you're racing the guys there. Verstappen, though, looks like he started to put pressure on ILT Phil now, of course, after Phil got taken out by the yellow car. And he gets off the circuit. Verstappen now puts in big pressure on Phil ahead of him. Here he is then in the Lamborghini. followed by Cedar Magel 2 in P9. Looks like Phil has pulled away just a bit. But look at that, Nathan under all sorts of pressure. I know these two in the party together. Nathan don't really talk during the parties because he concentrates a lot, does Nathan Booth. But Harry Palmer now will be getting nervous with that McLaren on the back of him. I think they swap places just the hours, so Nathan has got ahead of Harry Palmer. Nathan has now been released, but can he catch Meneses in front of him? Here is Steven Major right behind Verstappen, trying to look for a move further behind. It looks like Clouden is starting to put pressure on Stego in front of him. Here he is up the inside in the final corner. Can he make it stick? I believe there was a bit of contact involved, but gets ahead of him and he puts himself up into P10 then. So nicely, neat little move up the inside, lays the brakes of course, and he puts himself further up the field. There's Ewan Sport in the background there in P15. Quite a long way back. So we're already 8 laps into this Grand Prix. And Meneses still leads ahead of Nathan Booth, with the 3 of McLaren's right behind. Eckholt was the one that set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix just a moment ago. And there's a big battle within that midfield pack, as I want to keep an eye between these guys there.
So it's going to be a tough race ahead, and of course the challenge is to feel your way through the traffic now.
Mugello this season. Traditionally,
Nathan JB has just made his pit stop, and apologies about all the silence there. I'm not AFK, well, I was, but I had to go do something very important, so apologies about that. But Nathan JB has pitted, and he's rejoined down in P14 then, so the green means they've done a mandatory pit stop, and more people behind have pitted too. Verstappen's pitted, Amain's pitted down there in P21, a few others pitted early on in the Grand Prix after making contact or so. But yeah, Kevin in the chat is not happy due to some racing standards, so that needs to be sorted out, looked at. So Menaces, who pits immediately in response, and Harry Palmer, who pits too. So earlier on in this race, Harry Palmer was being under pressure by Eckholt. Eckholt was gaining a rate of knots, and Harry Palmer went out wide, I think somewhere in turn out of turn 10, and Eckholt made his way through it and put himself into P2. So Eckholt's on charge for a podium. I don't think Harry Palmer has anything to respond with, and we'll see where Menaces rejoins then. Still in the pit lane, get his car service, of course. It takes about a minute in the pit lane, but yeah, I had to do something important, unfortunately. I will never be AFK for a comms race, but I tried to stay with you as quickly, as much as I could. Had to mute my mic for a specific reason, but I was still here the whole time, so don't worry about it. But yeah, Menaces then in P4. Where's Nathan JB in comparison to him? Let's have a look. There he is, just behind him then. So I have noticed in the last few laps that Nathan Booth has closed the gap down between himself and Menaces. It was like 4 seconds at one point, and it went down to 3.2. So I think Nathan's got some decent pace. But catching's one thing, and overtaking is another thing too. So we'll see. Sorry about that. I'm just really tired. I've been out all day playing football and doing other things. So yeah, it's been a long week, but and a long day too. But let's see then if Nathan can put the pressure on Menaces. Actually, he's 1 second behind him. There he is then. So Nathan has had a really good in-lap, or out-lap, sorry, and he's putting big pressure on Menaces in front of him. We could see a battle for the lead as Eckholt is in the pit lane responding to Harry Palmer, but we could see a battle for net P1 developing between these two. Nathan Booth had a strong race back in Imola, obviously that was cancelled, but he didn't appear in Indianapolis, and looks like his championship hopes were fading before he even started because he lost a lot of points. And we are halfway through this race, of course. 5 tenths now, but look at that, was there contact there? Is that Menaces? I'm not quite sure what happened there because it's glitching all over the place, but I think that's a lap car. Get out of the way. It is a lap car. I just thought there were contact going down into turn 14, but this is getting really spicy now between Nathan and Menaces. Where is Eckholt? Eckholt's coming out of the pit lane right now, and he is fighting with Harry Palmer, and as you can see, Nathan's got a lot of speed and confidence in his car. He got stuck behind Harry Palmer in the first few laps because Harry Palmer overtook him, I think, did he? Into, where was it, turn 2 and turn 3, and ever since Nathan Booth disposed Harry Palmer, he's been really quick and is able to catch Menaces. We'll see then what happens in the latter stages of this Grand Prix. Eckholt's rejoined on the P10, so Harry Palmer is nowhere to be seen, I think, and there he is, just behind him. Sometimes this thing really does confuse me. I'm going to stay on board with Nathan to see what happens, but sometimes the screen really does confuse me. Number 17 puts in big pressure there on the number 1 car, who's currently in a net P1, but how long will it last for? That's the question, because Nathan's really starting to put some big pressure now on the Honda car ahead of him. The only Honda in this race, coming through turn 12 now, can be a really tricky corner if you, especially if you take too much speed on the entry, and therefore you're out on the gravel. Going down into turn 14 we go. As you can see, both drivers taking different lines in that final corner. As the car in front of us, that is Kenny, who's peeled off into the pit lane. So no distraction there, no hiccup there for Menaces to overtake him on the circuit, otherwise it'd be bad to Nathan, wouldn't he? So it looks like there's no more traffic in front of us until we get to see World Gamer down there in P6, who's currently running a lonely race. And also Steve spun, didn't he? I'm not quite sure where he spun, but he was up there in 11th place and fell backwards, so that spin has really cost Steve as well. And actually Harry Palmer is not too far behind Echo. There they are fighting for their P3. Which one of those two is going to finish in P3 in this race? If you make a mistake around in ACC, there's no coming back unless you've got some fantastic pace on you. Because there's no safety cars, there's no red flags to help you. You've got to do it by yourself. And it's any mistake, it's just so costly. You just cannot afford it whatsoever throughout the whole season. And a season like this where it's short, you've got to turn up for every single race too. And make sure you make no mistake. It is really punishing here in ACC if you make a slight mistake. Hoping your rivals ahead of you also makes mistakes. But Nathan's 5 tenths behind Meneses. The top 4 in this race is yet to pit. Rosnoz, who was currently running in P5, now up into P1 because the guys around him pitted. We'll see how his strategy pays off as well. We've got a big gap over him. The two in front of him or behind him have pitted now, so Sieb will take P2 away from those guys who've just pitted. Matthew Pell in P4 and also Jay Clauden in P2. The two McLarens in the pit lane then, so Nathan and Meneses will catapult the order towards P3 and P4. But can Nathan hold on though, because he has lost a bit of time towards Meneses now, so he must have had a really strong outlap there. Did Nathan before Meneses made a pit stop. Looks like Meneses is able to keep Nathan Booth at arm's length and therefore keep him behind. And Harry Palmer is putting big pressure on Echo in front of us. So let's see how this battle goes. Booth is a second away, so that good pace he had earlier on looks like he started to dissipate just a bit. And Meneses has able to keep him behind and still putting times on him. But Eckholt is under massive pressure from Harry Palmer. Looks like Harry Palmer now has found his form, because he was dropping backwards before the first pit stop. The gap was like 2 seconds between himself and Eckholt. So, he's made a mistake as Eckholt. But it looks like he's just saved the car and is able to stay in front of Harry Palmer for the time being then. So that small hiccup there almost cost him going down into turn 4 and 5. As we climb up the hill now, going into turn 12 we go. And the fastest part of the circuit, of course, other than turn 1. Where can Harry Palmer try and pounce on Echo? Can Echo respond to Harry Palmer? Both haven't scored a podium this season. Of course, we've only had 2 races, should have been 3. But the Imola Grand Prix was cancelled due to the server disconnecting. But staying up with Harry Palmer to see where he can strike. The best place to overtake, is it down to turn 2? He's not close enough on this occasion to try and make any sort of lunge going down into turn 2. Nathan Booth is 1.5 seconds away now. As we enter turn 3 we go, turn 4, turn 5, the slow speed corners. We've seen overtaking here in turn 4, turn 5. That's because some people locked up the rear end and was sliding all over the place and therefore was able to control the car and therefore people was able to go through. So we have seen a few overtakes in turn 4, turn 5. Can be quite tricky of course as we go through turn 6 right now. Used a lot of curve on the exit of turn 6 as we make our way down into the fast left-hander of turn 7 before we reach the breaker zone of turn 8 and turn 9. But it looks like Eckholt is able to keep his own and stay there as we make our way now into turn 10 and turn 11. More tricky corners. Matthias Turk though, as I must said, has been doing a fantastic job because he was starting P31, now he's up into P9. What could it have been? Looks like he should have tried and find a move down there. Yeah, he is. And Matthias Turk, I think he's got past Phil again. So Matthias Turk puts himself up to P9 now. Or P8, sorry. It was P8, yeah, apologies about that, because the timing screen is just updated. But Harry Palmer there, still looking to try and find a way past Eckholt as the lap car and gets out of the way. Roach approaching turn 1 again. And what is the back marker doing? That is not on, unfortunately. That's the second time he's done that, you know. The number 64 driver, so I'm not quite sure if he has mirrors or not, but I'm not quite sure why he keeps doing that. Disrupting people's races. Harry Palmer is going to be fuming. That's Bell again, who's done it again. I don't know why he keeps doing that. Look at this battle for P9, P10 and P11, looking spicy between the two there as Steve de Marchal has pitted. Down the inside goes Ewan Small, and I think he's made a place there on Phil. I think he was Verstappen. Let's see if the timing screens have updated. That's the problem because I'm struggling to identify who's who sometimes. 22 minutes left to go in this race. Rosnov's had not pitted yet. He's still in the lead of the Grand Prix, followed by Meneses and Nathan Booth. The gap is 2.8 now, so whatever pace Nathan had after that first pit stop, he's not able to keep up with Meneses, and he stays in P2 and net P1 there. So great job indeed for Meneses to stay in front of Nathan JB, but Harry Palmer has now dropped away from Eckhart too, so not able to keep pace with him. So where are the main battles around this racetrack? Looks like it's between these guys. Look at that. Is that Phil and Ewan? Ewan just got ahead of Phil. It's turn 12. That's a nice move there from Ewan. Ewan looking to try and fight back after he spun early in this race. With 21 minutes left to go, 24 laps have been completed there from Rosnov in the Ferrari, who is yet to make a pit stop still. Meneses is in P2. How far away is he from Rosnov? Rosnov going for a really long stint on them old tyres. Must have put a lot of fuel in the car in this race too. There is Rosnov in the final corner, and Meneses is about to make his way towards the final corner too, as the lap car gets out of the way. Or does he? I'm not quite sure from his camera angle. Yeah, he does. So we had a few problems with back markers because somebody got wiped out because of a back marker. I think that was RT Phil in P9. But it is quite quiet in this race. Not many battles are happening, but Phil is still sticking to the back of Ewan as we go down towards the left-hander of turn 11 and 12, or turn 9 and turn 10, sorry. Do get a bit confused with the track map sometimes because I haven't fully memorised this circuit. So it's all quiet for the time being. There's not much to talk about during this race, as I'm not quite sure what I'm doing myself either, to be honest. So Rosnov hasn't pitted either as Wichtrup in P10. Wichtrup did the same thing back in Indianapolis. He stayed out until the very last minute, literally, to put on a brand new set of tyres and more fuel in the car. And Jared Donnelly running his own race in P6, but I think Matthias Turk, with the pace he's having, will be all over the back of him very soon. So let's keep an eye on Jared Donnelly and Matthias Turk down there in P6 and P7. And further back is Smalley Balls in P8, followed by Phil in P9. And yet to make a pit stop is Wichtrup in P10, as Verstappen is just outside the top 10 in the Lamborghini. The Lamborghini car dominated back in Indianapolis, but the closest Lamborghini on the circuit is P11 then, so not a good day for the people who are racing in a Lamborghini. But it is a good day for the Honda driver, Meneses, the only Honda out there in this race. He's dropped Nathan Booth. The gap is 3 seconds now, I believe it is. Yeah, it is 3 seconds there, as a car is in the pit lane to make a pit stop or so. Can Matthias Turk close in on Jared Donnelly in front of him? Jared Donnelly been running a lonely race so far, but company will be on his tail very shortly. Obviously McLaren P3 to P7. We've got multiple McLarens inside the top 10. Same with the BMW drivers inside the top 10 too, with only one Ferrari there and one Honda. Now a lot of these guys prefer the McLarens because it is easier to drive in comparison towards the Ferrari and the Honda and whatever car people have chosen as well. The only person that runs the Lexus is Kevin, but he's not running a Lexus this time. Is he still in this race, Kevin? Haven't seen him for a while. I don't think he's in this race because he has complained about back markers or general racing. Not many people giving enough respect or space, and Kevin is out of the Grand Prix. I desperately need to try and get used to this, you know. Get used to these graphics and get used to the how it all works here at ACC. Because I still haven't found out how to Well, I don't know how to explain I don't know what I'm doing wrong, to be honest, but I'm trying my best, of course. And the Spanish Grand Prix, which ended a few hours ago. I hope you all enjoyed that. I think it was a good Spanish Grand Prix, you know, with the strategies going on. I think McLaren, Norris, I don't know, because like Norris got held up by Russell in the first stint, didn't he? Then they went long on that soft core powered tyre, which might cost them a bit of time. Then they got stuck behind Hamilton and Russell again. But yeah, McLaren had really good pace, but I think their strategy wasn't particularly the right one. But that was a great move from Russell around the outside into turn 1. He went from P4 to P1, and that was a fantastic move. But Verstappen got it back. McLaren is faster than Mercedes, I think. That's for sure. But here's Clouden then, trying to go around the outside of Verstappen. Is he able to make a move? Bit of contact there for good measure, but Verstappen is under all sorts of pressure from the McLarens around him. And let's see if we can try and hold these guys off. There's Verstappen. Also, Josh Savandra might make a move into turn 1. Is he brave to try and do that? No, they're not, because these two are going side by side once again. And I think Clouden got forced off the track there by Verstappen, but we go down into turn 2. Verstappen has the inside line, and Josh Savandra is also trying to make some impression too. But Josh Savandra has got past, I think. Who is it? Clouden. Yeah, Clauden's lost 2 places. He's trying to make one back immediately, but can't quite do it. There's not enough space on the inside. And Verstappen takes away. Look at that, the car's drifting through there. It is lag, sorry. Unfortunately, we experienced a bit of lag in this server. But Verstappen defending from dear life. Now he's got Josh Savandra to deal with. QVR Verstappen running the Saturday League, of course. And J Van Vien is trying and desperately try and keep Josh behind him. Josh got some decent pace so far at this stage. There's 15 minutes left to go in this race, and this is one of the closest battles you can see, but unfortunately lag is starting to happen. I really hope it's not affecting anybody else. It's Cloud who's lagging really badly, and Matthew Pell is up to P3, that's MKP. P13, sorry. But Matthias Turk looks like he's finally all of the back of Jared Dunley. The gap is under a second, but obviously that doesn't really matter because 8/10 is a massive gap in comparison to ACT terms rather than F1 terms, because obviously if you're in a second with somebody on F1 you get the DRS, but you don't have any of that here on the cars. But look at this then, Josh Savandra looking for a move on the inside, but I can't quite do it. Verstappen has the racing line and was able to stay ahead of Josh Savandra, but Josh Savandra is definitely putting pressure on Verstappen in front of him. Where can he make the move on Verstappen? Here's the question. What about Thomas Nijmegen? What about Steve de Major? Steve de Major is P16, but Thomas Nijmegen, unfortunately, has retired from this Grand Prix. So he's out of the Grand Prix too. Leo Aries down at P20 fighting with, I think that is Kenny. The finishment of Kenny under pressure from Leo Aries there. But that's the battle between Josh and Verstappen. Here they are then. Coming down to the left-hander is Josh. Will it poised not to make a lunge? He's side by side out of the corner. Going down into turn 10 and turn 11. The side by side, and Josh gets ahead of Verstappen. As we make our way now. Oh, is there contact? Josh, has he been spun round by Verstappen? I think Verstappen's made contact with him. And Josh unfortunately goes in a spin. So all that hard work to get past Verstappen has gone down the drain. And Verstappen, did he outbrake himself? Did Josh lose it on the back end of the car on the brakes? Either way, he's fallen down the field, and all that hard work, sadly, means nothing. And Josh should be absolutely fuming with that one, it must be said. But what about Jared Dunley and Matthias Turk? Looks like Matthias Turk has dropped back just a little bit towards Jared Dunley there in P6. So Jared is keeping Matthias at bay so far. Jacob Palmer down there P5 is 1.7 seconds away from Eckholt, so is there any pace left at McLaren to try and catch the other manufacturer, or the same manufacturer, sorry. And Rosnov in this race hasn't pitted yet, neither has Wistrup. Wistrup did the same strategy back in Indianapolis where he left it a bit too late. So they like to go really long in the first stint, don't they? But I expect Menaces to close in. Oh dear, I don't think... I just noticed something. Let's have a look. No, it's alright, it's alright. I thought something happened, but never mind. I got confused once again. But Jared Dunley there can sense the Dutchman all over the back end And let's see then, can Matthias Turk strike? Ewan Small is in the background of this picture as we head through turn 14 we go. And Jared Donnelly will be looking in his mirrors to see where Matthias Turk is. And Willie pulls to the left hand side to take the inside line, going down into turn 1, picks up a bit of slipstream. But here we go then, down into turn 1 we go, and Matthias Turk takes away P6 from Jared Donnelly, but Jared Donnelly trying to go around the outside, and he's off the track too. And I think he stayed ahead. Yes, he has. Will that be illegal though? Because he made a legal move around the outside into turn 1, so surely has to give the place back. A 3-second time penalty, or a drive-through penalty, sorry, has been dished out towards a main in P17. But Jared Donnelly there really extended track limits, and looks like he's got away with it too. So maybe Jared Donnelly has picked himself up a track limit warning and not obliged to give the place back, otherwise he'd done it by now. But Ewan Small is also closing in on this battle too, so it could be a three-way battle between Donnelly, Turk and Small. And Echo just putting a bit of time on Harry Palmer too. The gap's gone to 1.9 now, actually 2.6, so the gap was 1.7 a few laps ago. It's 2.6, so Eckholt is in a net P3 and on course to score his first podium of the season. Is Eckholt had a bit of misfortune, I think, back in Imola and in Indianapolis. I think he spun, didn't he, in Indianapolis in the first few laps? I think it was him, because I remember him being up there, and my memory is so bad. It was only about a week ago when it all happened. But for the second time I'm asking, Matthias Turk will probably wait before turn 1 to try and overtake him into turn 2. That's probably the better strategy, because you can really extend that track limit at the exit of turn 1. We've seen a lot of people go out wide at turn 1, really pushing your luck. But here we go once again then, with Matthias Turk and Jared Donnelly going down into turn 1. And obviously he's too far back to make a move, but is he close enough at the exit of turn 1 to try and get him down into turn 2? Not on this occasion, has to stay behind him. And Ewan Small in the BMW is starting to close up on these guys. We head through turn 3 now. Now going down slow speed corners of turn 4 and turn 5, the slowest corners on the circuit. I believe turn 2 is one of the slowest corners on the circuit. But yeah, mixture of high speed and slow speed corners and mid speed corners too is Valencia. It's more used for a MotoGP track, isn't it? I don't believe, yeah, MotoGP race around here. We're seeing plenty of good battles around this circuit too, with those categories. But there's contact, is there, between Matthias Turk. I think he got too close for comfort, bump in the back of Donnelly. But luckily both cars just got away with it. But the lag is not helping either. But yes, Jared Donnelly then, for the next 9 minutes or so, has to think about defending against Matthias Turk. But Matthias there puts him under all sorts of pressure. Looks like Jared is coping with the pressure really well, keeping that other McLaren behind him and the BMW too, which is Ewan Small. Matthew Pell, 3/10 behind Verstappen now, so looks like that battle's heaping up between P11 and P12. You can hear the tyres squealing as these guys lock up their tyres. But that's an interesting battle going on further ahead. I believe they're lap cars, are they? Yeah, they are lap cars. Was that Clouden and was that Kenny too? Fighting for P19 and P20? As we go down into turn 2 once again, Matthias Turk just can't find a way past Jared Donnelly. If it was F1, he got past by now, because you overtake off the track, you have to give the place back. But looks like it's different rules here at ACC. And you can see there the exhaust firing up on the back of that McLaren, downshifted through the gears, going through turn number 7. Look at this, we've got a few back markers in front of us. So it looks like those back markers, is that Kenny Clouden? Looks like one of the back markers got away out of the way very nicely. Is it Evanjo down the P15? I think it is, because you can see the Buzz Lightyear car somewhere on the circuit. But here we go then. Is this Donnelly and Matthias Turk? No, it's not, as the guys, it's the back markers faster away. That's Josh Evanjo, I think it is. And the Beamer of Leo Aries. That's Leo Aries versus Clouden. But these two, Clouden and Leo Aries, got to get out of the way before this trio arrives. As you can see, the flashing lights on the front end of the car, telling these guys to get the F out of the way, because we're coming up towards you. We need to get past you, otherwise you're going to ruin my chances of keeping Matthias behind me. There we go. The two cars get out of the way, and luckily they respect the rules. But here comes Ewan Small now. Is he going to take advantage going down his turn? Well, yes, he is. Ewan Small up the inside. Oh, Matthias Turk, a bit of contact too, as Matthias Turk goes off the track. But Ewan Small has the racing line going down into turn 2, and he makes the move stick, and he puts himself up into P7 then. Matthias will be absolutely frustrated with that one. He's trying to fight Jay Dunley, but got outdone by Ewan instead. She's trying to gain a place, but lost one at the same time. Now Ewan's in the middle of this battle. Ewan has made a fantastic recovery drive to go back up into P7 after he spun in the early stages of this race. Excuse me there. Oh, a bit of contact. So I think Matthias Turn's got a decent exit now as we make our way down in towards turn 7. And that is Ewan staying ahead of Ewan Small. Ignore what I said. Ewan staying ahead of Matthias Turk. It's been a long day playing football, shouting towards other people. But yeah, my voice is starting to go just a bit. It doesn't help that I've got hay fever too, with the blocked nose. But Matthias Turk then tried to fight Ewan back, but Ewan had him covered off. This is helping Jared Dudley, you know, pull away slightly, but he's not pulled away much, has he? Because Ewan Small is all over the back of him. Is that Jared Dudley? Yeah, going down into 14 we go, but Jared Dudley has the inside line. Ewan looks like he got more pace in that BMW compared to that McLaren. And here we go on the straight once again. Ewan Small pulls to the left hand side, and this is his golden opportunity to overtake. A bit of contact there too for good measure as we go down into turn 1. Ewan Small surely. Oh, a bit of contact there between Matthias Turk and Jared Dudley. And Jared Dudley there. Matthias Turk forced him out wide, and he's lost another place too for good measure. Is that Phil? Yeah, it is Phil. So Jared Dudley there has lost 3 places, unfortunately. I don't think Matthias Turk, but look at this. Matthias Turk then really fighting hard with these guys. A bit more contact too between them into turn 4 and turn 5. But Ewan Small versus Matthias Turk, the Dutchman versus the Scotsman, of course. And Ewan, they're exchanging lines and positions. But it looks like Matthias Turk wins that battle and puts himself into P6. These two have had their own problems in this race, with Matthias Turk disconnected from the server, started last, and Ewan Small, who spun early on in this Grand Prix, and also RT Phil, who got taken out by a back marker too. But Matthias Turk was not waiting around, was he? He really wanted that position from Jared Dudley, and finally made a move. A bit of a personal move, because obviously last time out those two came close. Jared Dudley overtook off the track, so yeah, a bit personal between Matthias Turk and Jay Dudley there. Rosnov has still not pitted, and neither has Wistrop. These two going for an unusual strategy, of course, not having the freshness of those tyres. Do you know what? The gap is 25.3 seconds now, and the back market in the background of Aries is getting lapped once again. So I think it's all settled now. Not much going on throughout the whole field. In fact, Ewan Small is still putting pressure on Matthias Turk, so it looks like the battle between P6 and P7 is not over yet. And further behind is ILT Phil in the other BMW, of course, but in between them is a back marker, so hopefully he does not interfere with this amazing battle for P6. Number 44 of Jay Clouden in P17, who's in the middle of this battle, and hopefully gets out of the way once ILT Phil arrives on the scene. Coming through that left-hander now of a turn, here we go. Coming to a section of slow speed corners through turn 9, 10 and turn 11. Oh, it goes a bit wide, does Jared Dudley, Matthias Turk, sorry. Will that influence Ewan Small to get even closer? But look at the back marker of number 44, Jay Clouden, interfering in this battle. He clattered the curve, didn't he? He lost a bit of time there too for good measure. Closest battle Jay Cloud has got is with Leo Aries down at P18. But here we go on the straight once again. 37 laps in this race has been completed. We've got 3 more minutes left in this race before it ends. And once again, these two go into battle. It's turn 1, but not enough room to go around the outside there. And look at that, look at the run. He's got the exit of turn 1. Ewan Small is ahead of Matthias Turk. Great move indeed. He covers the inside line to prevent him overtaking him again. And once again, Ewan Small pulls on another great move Another great move to put himself back into P6. These two going hammer and tongue, of course. Some fantastic racing between these two. But Matthias Turk had a really bad exit out of the first corner, and Ewan Small had the drive to go wheel to wheel, then he covered the inside line to prevent Matthias Turk overtaking him again. It's a shame that Ewan Small spun in the opening stages. What could it have been for him if he didn't make that spin? But either way, it's a great comeback drive from both of them, from Ewan Small and Matthias Turk. We've got 2 more minutes left in this race. I think Matthew Pell has overtaken Verstappen. We couldn't quite see that, of course, but he's got himself up into P11. It looks like Matthias Turk is struggling now. Look who's that? Look who it is. It's ILT Phil now, who's getting himself involved in this battle. Where's rotation? Christian Chamo. I can't quite see him on the timer screen, so it looks like he's disappeared from this race too. So another big runner, Christian Chamo, looks like he's out of this race as well. But look at this. Here is Phil versus Turk, and it looks like Phil is going to get ahead of the Dutchman and puts himself up into P7 now, I believe it is. So Matthias Turk's pace has really dropped off for some reason, and guess what? Jared Dunley is on the back of him again, so it looks like it's going to be a good battle again between these two. With the back market involved, Wichtrup is finding the pit lane. I don't know why he does this, you know, because he did the exact same thing back in Imola and in Indianapolis. And Rosnov pits too, so about to say, Rosnov needed to pit as well. So your boy Meneses in P2 is on the final lap of this race. What a fantastic control race has been so far. No pressure other than the first lap at the end of the pit stop. But ever since then he's dropped Nathan Booth and he's been on his own majority through this race. No trouble whatsoever from this guy. Fantastic stuff indeed. And let's see there, Matthias Turk still holds the back of Fischer for P7. The German driver against the Dutchman. Just having to look to see where the leader is. So he's coming through turn 4, turn 5 and turn 6. So we can look to see this battle. Pitted, yeah, he's fallen down the order, of course. At the timing screens and do update in the first split sectors. And HJ has got himself a drive-through penalty as well. A stop-go penalty for Wichtrup. He did the exact same thing in Indianapolis. He really does allow pit stops, does he? But back on board with the race leader. There he is then. Coming towards the 2/3 of this race, of this lap, sorry. Rosnov has rejoined in P4, has he? Yeah, he has. So Rosnov has put himself in P4. He's on the back of Eccles. So his pace has been so mighty, but for some reason he left it too late. If he pitted about a few laps earlier, maybe able to catch Eccles, but it's a bit too late now for that. His pace was quite strong, despite being on old tyres for the whole race. But here it is then. Meneses is about to make his way towards the finish line to win in Valencia. What a fantastic race it's been for Meneses in the Honda. Nathan Booth will finish in P2, Eccles P3, Rosnov in P4, followed by Harry Palmer in P5. And also Ewan Small, the man who spun earlier in the race, will come home to finish in P6, followed by the rest of the guys further behind. So, not a bad race. There was a few lull moments, but that's ACC for you. Good battles in the midfield. But yeah, hopefully you all enjoyed this race. Wait for every single driver to cross the line before I can get on to the next stuff. I won't be doing podium interviews today because I am quite tired, so it's been a really long day, and I'll see you all next weekend for the next race. Round 2 is done.